At 7 o'clock, call to order here, the regular meeting of the City Council here at Rents Pass City Hall, 600 West Cleveland Boulevard, May 2nd, 2016, 7 p.m. All rise for the invocation, please. Lord, we'd like to give you thanks for all the blessings that you bestow upon us. We ask you to watch over us as a community. We ask you for the strength and guidance as we come together as a council to come for agreements for our city here. We ask you to watch our youth that are coming up and becoming our future leaders. We ask you to bless the ones that aren't feeling so well and look overall. Thank you. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is going to bring us to item 3, item 4, zoning board and adjustments. Sylvia?
Mayor and council, right, at this moment, we have 2 positions on the Zoning Board of Adjustment that need to be filled. We have 2 board members, Lisa Barker and Armando Garza, who have resubmitted applications to be reappointed to the board. They are currently regular members of the board. Staff is recommending those 2 applicants.
There have been no issues with absenteeism or anything?
No.
Okay. Any questions from council? Do I hear a motion for approval for those 2 items?
I make a motion we approve Lisa Barker and Armando Garza for the Zoning Board of Adjustments.
Second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This is going to bring us to item 5, our citizen comments. We have 3 minutes to state your name, full name, address, and whatever business you want to address. The floor is now open.
Mayor, council members, my name is Howard Gillespie, Lieutenant Commander, United States Navy, retired. I'm the mayor of Ingalls Island Bay for about the next 2 weeks. I'm also the fire chief there. I'm still running for San Patricio County Commissioner Precinct 4. I've given you my new updated bio sheet. I added a few things. I had neglected to add in there that I was a member of the South Texas Waterways Advisory Committee for the port, with the former Harbor Safety Committee for about the same amount of years I've been with TxDOT. Also been a member of the Port Security Working Group for the port for about the same amount of time. That was chaired by the Coast Guard. And then I was a member of the Ingleside Independent School District Board Bond Committee for the bond issue for our new high school. I have the experience, the qualifications, and the desire to do the job. When elected, I'll give this position the same level of dedicated effort that I've given to the state for the last 15 years. I gave to the United States Navy for 30 years, and what I've given to the Ingleside on the Bay for about the last 20 years. I'll be a commissioner for the entire precinct. If Aransas Pass needs the commissioner, I will be here. Okay? If Ingleside needs the commissioner, I'll be there. I'll be wherever needed. My new business card has my phone number on it. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me. The other thing that everyone's concerned about is when elected, I will step down from my position as TxDOT's Area Operations Manager. I will be a full-time commissioner. Okay, I already work with TxDOT staff. I'm on Chris Barone, District Engineer, Senior Staff. I'm well-versed in all the roadway construction and all the other projects that are going on in this precinct. So, and I already know all those people and work with them. Now, but to do this, I need your votes. Okay, I need your family's votes. I need your neighbors' votes. I need your friends' votes. All right, this is a runoff election. There are 2 names on the ballot, mine and my opponents. It's on the 24th, on the back, May 24th. On the back of the sheet I gave you in my bio, the early voting site, the only voting site here in the local area. polling stations will be open on the 24th from 7 to 7 as a normal election. Okay? You got to get up for it. There's no presidential candidate on there, just me and one other person. I'm number one on the ballot. Please give me your votes. I'll do a good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to make a comment? How you doing?
My name is Austin Medina. I'm actually a resident of Riverside, Texas. Looking to expand my family, bought a piece of property on Newport Drive. Noticed that it's just a caliche road. Got information that the 2-inch water line that supplies that road is insufficient. Me and a couple of other neighbors there are, proposing that, the city reinvest in itself. Strong city, strong community starts with a strong infrastructure, right? And we believe that, paving that road the way it's supposed to be, upgrading the city water, city sewer, the benefit,
Yes, sir. Is there any other things you want to ask, sir? Mr. Medina?
no.
No. All right. Thank you, sir.
Council, for your information, it's listed on your paving sheet. I did meet with Mr. Medina earlier in the week, so.
Is there anybody else who'd like to make a comment? If not, that'll close our citizen comments. We'll continue on. We're going to move to item number 6, the consent agenda. All of the following items of the consent agenda considered to be routine by the city council will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda, will be considered separately. We have items 6A and B.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This brings us to item 7, consider and act on city manager items. Sylvia, 7A.
Mayor and Council, we have Andrew Friedman and his counterpart to discuss item 7A. As you know, we refinanced some bonds from the last taxable bond sale. The information he's about to present to you is stellar. We couldn't have asked for better news today, which opens up the conversation for item 7B. So I won't steal Andrew's thunder.
Thank you very much, Mayor, Council. Tom St. John, my associate. As Sylvia mentioned, very good news this evening. On Thursday of last week, we received bids for the refunding of our Series 2007 taxable bonds, taxable COs, excuse me. The results of that are page 1 of the attachment that was just handed to you. We received 4 different bids, which is a pretty strong showing for taxable municipal bonds. There's a limited number of buyers in this market, at least, for taxable bonds. So that having 4 bidders show up at the table, we're very pleased with what we see. They were relatively close to each other. The winning bid, Zions Bank out of Salt Lake City, Utah, submitted a low bid, 2.899% of an average interest rate. And then their cover bid, the second place bid, from a bank in the Hill Country, First National Bank of Texas, 3.08%. We offered to award the low bid, 2.9% roughly. If you flip the page, you can see the results of that interest rate that they bid to us. Top table, the summary of the bonds refunded, is the same bonds we talked about last month. That table on the left, the summary of the refunding results, I included a preliminary table, which is what we looked at last month. To the right of that, the final results, so you can get a good comparison of how the winning bid came in versus what we were estimating a month ago. So you can see refunding the same amount of bonds. That average coupon was 6.38%, replacing it with 2.9% bonds, generating a savings of $805,000. Previously, we were expecting savings of around $704,000. So we're very pleased with that result. And then that last row there, the present value savings is a percentage at 17.77%. I think I mentioned last time. We look at refunding as being in the money if it's over 5%. So to be at 17% is a real no-brainer. I think the savings speak for themselves. Table on the right shows you your annual savings that we're locking in with these rates this evening, 86 to 85,000 a year through 2027. We're not extending the maturity, we're just replacing them year for year. So final maturity in 2027 for a total savings of 805,000 on the present value basis. It's nearly $1 million on gross savings.
All right.
With that, I'm happy to entertain any questions, but we're very pleased with the result. Very, very good.
Good job. Any
That's-
questions from council?
I would just want the council to take notice that interest rate is more than half
Yes.
off of what we were paying.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And the added benefit I've neglected to mention, the bonds we're refunding had a 10-year call. The bonds that we're issuing now at the bank.
Oh, thank you.
Because interest rates are so low, will be callable any time. So we decide to sell that property. We're not really handcuffed because the bonds, we, with 30 days notice, can take them back from the bank with no penalty whatsoever to the district. So it really, on top of being a great rate, it really frees us up to do what's in the best interest of the city if selling the property becomes advantageous to us between now and 2027.
So
That's a yes.
with that makes me very happy. That's almost the creation of new money. It's freed up money that's not going to interest. So that brings us to item B, which opens up the opportunity to go out for an additional $3 million. We need the council, if that is the direction of the council, to authorize Samco to go out onto the market. What you have in front of you is a potential project list that I will bring up right now. Streets, 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 sewer, 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 sewer.
Right.
What you have in front of you consists of, these are basic streets city staff would do. This is a cost at city staff doing the work. This is the cost of city staff using the resources from the harbor, from the recrushed and reclaimed concrete. That's about $2.1 million. Ebert takes up a good portion of that at almost $500,000. However, that takes Ebert through a punch out, and it basically creates Debert, Eberry, Highland in that area. It also opens up a sanitary sewer path for us later on in alternate drainage ways as well. You'll have attached every street overlay quantity and cost. The end of this is, if you recall, we had some we have what are called sanitary sewer overflow issues with the state. Some of that is part of a project that allows us to handle it as we can. We feel like if we're going to be touching the street, we may as well be touching some of the other issues that go along with the street. I gave you a cover sheet that says basically the approach we took. I do want the council to understand we do have people who talk about their streets all the time, and this is by no means going to even, I guess, begin to scratch the surface of everything that we need. But there was some criteria: minor street repair. We had done an initial street survey. Can we take care of other issues while we're there on the street already? And really the most important part is it's something that the city can do on our own without having to contract a good portion of the work out, which sends that number stratospheric. So that's our wish list to Samco. So now it's Andrew's job to go sell it.
With all of that said, the other half of the attachment that I handed out, I just want to point out to you, this is what we call a tax rate impact analysis. We visited in depth with Sylvia leading up to this about being able to structure some new money, considering also what we're saving by completing the refinancing of the 2007 bonds. So what we have, moving from left to right, the taxable assessed value in 15 and the 2016 certified value, along with our existing debt, and then the savings that we have to determine what type of capacity we have to issue bonds without having to increase the INS tax rate. That's the goal of this entire exercise, is determining debt that's being refunded for savings. And also, that second column, you can see our existing debt, it declines over time. So we can issue new debt in its place without affecting the INS tax rate for the city levy. With that, we determined the city could easily sell $3 million of new money, certificates of obligation, to fund this paving and sewer infrastructure upgrade without having any impact on the INS tax levy that you currently have.
It's good.
Behind that is a proposed timetable. With your permission to proceed this evening, we would be back on June 6th with a notice of intention. As most of y'all will recall, the notice of intention resolution that the city council has to adopt outlines the projects that we intend to fund with these certificates of obligation, which in this case would be streets, drainage, sewer, and the ancillary upgrades that you do along with that. We're not going to be as specific as you're looking at right now. We don't want to necessarily pigeonhole ourselves into certain streets or certain sewer upgrades. Write it broadly so that as crews are working, as you all are spending your money and boots on the ground, make changes as necessary. And we set a not to exceed account, which in this case would be $3 million. I know that the total that you see on your worksheet is $2,192,000. It's not saying that we're going to issue $3 million. It's saying that you have the authorization and ability to issue up to $3 million. We can scale it back if necessary.
Oh, no, the other 1 million is in the pages behind it.
Oh, okay.
It's in the page, it's in the overflow
We're gonna
program.
set that not to exceed amount at
Yes.
$3 million. That will be in the notice of intention resolution before you on June 6th. We plan to fund by August 17th, in time for you to adopt your budget, set your tax rate for the following.
I want the council to understand too, we've been working with Andrew and Mark to make sure the debt is structured so that every 3 to 4 years, we have this opportunity. As we complete one bond project, start the next one. The residents expect us to be done with things. Community Park's probably the sore thumb, and so is Highland. I know everybody still sees the sewer work on Highland not being done. So with that thought in mind, that it takes us like a few years to finish a bond project, we've been working to make sure things are structured in that manner so that every few years we have the opportunity to, again, begin improving ourselves and making the assumption that we don't have any increases in the tax rate.
I have a question. What led to us getting such a good interest rate?
Because we're good, Vicky.
I just want to hear it. I just want the people to know.
We have a very good credit rating. I believe we're a AA minus, which in terms of overall credit rating, AAA is the absolute highest, which the U.S. government doesn't even enjoy anymore. AA plus, AA minus, goes all the way A plus, A minus, triple B plus, and then you get into non-investment grade bonds. So we're a very, very good credit rating. Sylvia, the rest of city staff has done a great job over the last couple of years building fund balance. So as these investors are doing their due diligence, looking at your financials, your audit, they see the improvement. They see that this is a place that they want to invest. So that generates those low interest rates. It also helps that interest rates are as low as they've been in decades.
Yes.
And they continue to be low, and we expect that they will still be low when we're locking in interest rates on these COs in July. So that's where those low interest rates come from.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, Billy? Karen? Thank you, sir. On item 7B, do I hear a motion for approval?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I need you to vote on item A.
7A.
A and B, Mayor.
A and B together? Do I
I
hear-
need to do them I think separately, but I'll.
Well, that's fine. Do them separately.
do I hear a motion for approval for item 7A?
I'll make a motion, we approve item 7A.
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do I hear a motion for approval for item 7B?
I'll make a motion, we approve item 7B.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You give it to her over there, and she'll give it to me later.
This is the only one I have to take with me this evening. The rest of the legal documents she has, if you're comfortable signing them.
Well, you can wait till,
He's getting ready to leave.
well, you can wait a little bit for money, can you?
Oscar, are you on the clock?
Item 7C.
Mayor and Council, item 7C is a standard rate distribution impact that's passed by AEP onto our consumers. We normally file we don't agree with your rate increase across the board. It happens anyway. The Public Utility Commission gives AEP that authority. Our action is a delay. Gives our residents a few months from receiving that rate impact.
Is there any question from council on item 7C? I hear a motion for approval for item 7C.
Yeah, I make a motion, we approve item 7C.
Second the motion?
All in favor, say aye.
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 I'm abstaining since my husband works for AEP.
This was moved to item 7D.
Mayor and Council, as you're aware, we went out for a request for proposals for a lessee for the softball complex. The only applicant was the current lessee, Roland Peña, who has submitted the normal monthly fee of $550, regular use days, his makeup days, discount for rain days, and exclusive use of the restroom facilities on his normal scheduled Monday, Wednesday days.
I've got a question. If someone wants to, like, have a tournament, you know, because a lot of times during the summertime, you have a lot of tournaments, would they have to go through Roland since?
Not if it's not on one of his normally scheduled
Okay.
days. If it's a free day, so to speak, they would work with city staff.
Okay.
We're losing, what, 1,000 for
It
month?
costs us about $1,000 a month in between the electricity, the staff to empty the trash cans, and normal cleanup. Obviously, during the summer periods, it's peak. There's typically a lot of debris left behind. We're going to enforce a no alcohol, within the perimeter of the children's park area. It is about $1,000 a month, so $550 will make a dent into the $1,000. My only issue with this is the discount for rain days, because we provide makeup days. There's always makeup days scheduled, so I don't believe we should be giving a discount for rain days. My personal opinion, I don't get a discount for rent if I don't stay in my house.
Makes sense.
Can we, I'd like to make a proposal to go ahead and for us to accept the request and just strike the makeup days, you know, as far as the discount, when it's rainy days? Can we do that?
You can make that motion.
Okay, I make that motion.
Second that motion?
All in favor, say aye.
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 This moves to item 7E. Sylvia?
Item 7E is the consider and act for the community park improvements. These were part of the last bond issue that has the pad that serves double duty for the vendors and will also serve as a bleacher pad for the soccer fields that end up being developed there. The skate park that I think we talked about 2 years ago, that's on order, that's been sitting in the warehouse, needs a concrete pad. And also the dog park. The renderings that we showed you that have the little concrete area with the dog bone carved out of it. The low bid is Lee Construction Services at $129,650, and R&A Construction comes in a close second at $134,150. There was some questions on disposal fee, plumbing or electrical, and those are clarified further. But I know I have Mr. Lee here to address. Oh, and Mr. Gomez is here to address also both of the submittals. So if council has any questions, both of the submitters are available for comment.
Is there any questions from council on any of these submittals?
On the disposal fees and the landscaping, what's the dollar difference between the one that's being included? How much are we gonna get, have to do the landscaping? They're gonna be on our dime, or?
Mr. Lee clarified a comment. Mr. Gomez described the pad to be turnkey, grass, sand, everything replaced, ready for operation. Mr. Lee says he's going to recycle and leave it as close to as is. I don't believe either one are aware of the disposal fees right now because of whether it's fill that's needed or dirt to be taken out at this particular point in time, so.
So, price could go up, or is it gonna be on their dime?
With both, well, you see right there with, and I'll let you address it with the applicants. If there's a large number of disposal fees, Mr. Lee says it's not included, we would have to pay additional. And he clarified the landscaping, leaving it as close to, normal conditions. So there could be a slight price deviation. How much, I don't know, I'd have to defer to them to ask that, to let you ask that.
Mine's included in
Your,
the disposal and all that,
Here.
cleanup and all that.
Okay.
Excuse me, Ralph. Ask Allison.
So that includes as far as,
Yeah, it's a turkey,
disposal, okay, disposal and all?
Right now, yeah, disposal, cleanup, and I'm even gonna put some grass around around the vendors, so we won't have no sand flying around, so we don't have to wait for the grass to grow.
Okay.
So you're gonna sod it, just sod, right? That way, just
Yes, all the way
sod and
around,
water.
to the vendors at the street park. And they have nice grass all the way around from our walkway, nice and cleaned up and all that. Everything's cleaned up.
Okay.
Okay.
Mayor, council, my name is Chad Lee. Really not a concrete project, there's not a lot of waste other than soil and vegetation. We plan on recycling material off-site. One thing we don't know are elevations, so that would be important to make everything 100%. But if we're several inches over the current grades, there will not be any additional fees for the city. I did not have landscaping in my proposal. Y'all would like a landscaping proposal, I would like to do that, for clarification.
Sylvia, did the RFP talk about landscaping?
no,
or
it was simply the concrete work.
Okay.
And also for the dog park, it would be good to know the scope of work for the plumbing. And as any sloping we would be doing for the concrete, if it's gonna slope away from the depressions in the concrete, or if it's gonna slope back to it, that'd be nice to have clarified.
The MEP drawings, well, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, in this case, there's no mechanical. Eli has just completed those, and so they're in the process of being sealed. So we anticipate the electrical and the plumbing being outside of the concrete work, sort of retrofitted after the fact. And I don't know what the exact scope of the electrical and the plumbing. I have what I consider to be the ultimate design that I've been asking electrical engineers to work on for 2 years. Eli has finally kind of cracked the code. So I'll anticipate sending that back out for rebid on the electrical and the plumbing side.
What will be the favor of the council? Is there any, if there's not any other questions? Do you want to wait, give the mechanical, what we have from the engineer so they can work with that, or just do it
That'll all be outside of the foundation.
outside of the foundation?
If we don't award a bid, we won't be done in time for Sherpri.
That's what I was thinking about.
We won't be done in time for Sherpri. And my concern about the current situation is where what they do is they bring in pallets and they set up, there's water on the ground, there's live electrical. That is a very, very big safety concern for me, a very big safety concern. I'd like to start making progress toward that. The last thing I want is anybody to be harmed during an event that we have 60,000 people on the grounds.
There will be plumbing in the slab of the dog park. There will be drains and some sort of water supply, I assume,
Mhm.
without the ultimate scope verified.
And Chad, what is your start date and how long is this project?
I can probably have forms set within 2 weeks and have the shrimpery location done before the end of the month. And then the other projects, I would assume would be staged after that, after the shrimpery slab is finished.
Is there another
And
question?
Mr. Gomez, you know, as far as,
Would you start tomorrow?
I'll make a motion to consider Chad Lee Construction Services to complete the community park.
Second the motion?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
aye.
Nay.
Okay, what do we got? Ayes or opposed?
2 and 2, you're the tiebreaker.
I oppose. And the reason I oppose, and I'll say that publicly, is it's hard to, how do you say, make a good conscience call. I have nothing against Mr. Lee or his wife or anything, but since we have a conflict of interest, the way I look at it, having a city employee as a supervisor for the community park, and then a spouse trying to get, bid on the job too, that's where I come up with my vote no. Just to clarify that, if there's any questions whatsoever. So I'm opposed.
So we need an alternate motion.
Well, I make a motion we approve R&A Construction
I
for the
second.
community park.
Vicky is a second.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't think they
I second.
All fair say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Me?
Obviously.
So now, Mayor, now there's your vote, Mayor.
I oppose also. Might as well go for 2 for 2. Is there a third motion you want to make?
There is no third
There is no
motion.
third. If you oppose this, none
That's
of the
it.
bids are
That's
awarded.
it.
They're
Yeah, if
standing in order
you
for
oppose the
approval.
second motion, none of the bids are awarded.
You'll have to go back up for bids again.
Yeah.
Said and done. Those bring us to item 7F.
Mayor and Council, this item is the issuance of an RFP for solid waste services. This is our provider for trash and bulk and brush. That contract ends in April 2017, but we've got to give notice by the end of the year, by December. So we'd like the opportunity to go out and publish. This is a very large contract. It's several $1 million over a period of typically 5 years. Has the potential to be a $10 million plus contract. And we'd like council direction on going out for bid.
So we just need to make a motion to
Yes.
authorize the city to go out for bids. I make a motion that we authorize the city staff to go out for bids for solid waste collection.
Second the motion?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Vicky, you made the motion. Who was the second?
I make the
Oh,
motion.
Philip.
I think it's long overdue.
Yep.
This moves to item 9A, planning. Is that correct, Sylvia?
Yes, we have a presentation of items. These are going to be future items that the Planning Commission is, no, go ahead. Because it is going to be advertised in the paper, and because it is a planning and zoning case, and because there's so much intentional misinformation out there, I wanted Miguel to give you some clarification on what is going to be on the agenda.
These items have not been reviewed by the planning commission. The planning commission has not made a single recommendation. This is what staff is bringing up to and keeping the council informed as to what's coming up. First item is the zoning of the Sherwood Forest and the surrounding areas. Those were newly annexed areas. This also includes the Allen Samuels and the Butterchurn, because when they were annexed, they were properly zoned, so we're taking care of that area, as well as what the Sherwood Forest is. As you can see, there's 3 tracks being proposed. First track is, we're recommending it be zoned in R7B residential, that allows a single family residential. As you'll see later, we're also proposing amendment to the ordinance that would allow manufactured homes to be in the R7B. The second track is your general commercial. That's where your Allen Samuels, your Buddy Churn, and some commercial properties are in the Sherwood Forest area. And your third track is the area that has outside work being done, also a welding shop. So those areas we're going to be recommended to the planning commission for industrial zoning. There will be a public hearing before the planning commission, so at that time the boundaries may change, the districts may change, so that's what staff has initially proposed to get. The next item is the proposed amendment to the non-conforming uses. This is something that has come to the commission, that was remanded back to the planning commission. We're going to be reviewing it. It's setting a limit on the non-conforming to 12 months for non-use. It's also stating that if the property owner or the owner of that non-conforming structure wants to continue using it, you'll have to come and get it re-inspected to make sure it's in compliance, so that way it can be reused. There were some issues as to whether or not somebody that went out on a job for 2 years and then came back wanted to use it would be able to use it. So we just want to make sure to allow that individual to be able to reuse his non-conforming structure, which is mainly your manufactured homes. The third item is that if it's if it's damaged over 50%, then the non-conforming structure would not be able to be used again. And then one of the final items, that if it was for less than 50%, then you could rebuild your non-conforming use, provided it gets done within 12 months. It's done. And the other thing was, if you are a property owner or owner occupied of mainly a manufactured home, you'd be able to replace it with a manufactured home that was no older than 10 years old at the time it's approved.
I'll remind the council, we had there's a council candidate who brought up the issue about non-conforming use versus non-conforming structure. We had several members, we held a public hearing here at City Hall. The primary issue is that of the safety of a structure. It's not so much the non-conforming use, because the use is still residential. It was the fact that the structure sometimes gets into a dilapidated state, and to be able to maintain the health and safety of our neighborhoods. Miguel's example of those property owners who live away, or maybe are winter Texans and maybe get caught up north, illness, something, they don't make it down here, but it's still a relatively decent and safe place to live, that they still be allowed to come and enjoy and not lose its non-conforming status. So we tried to take all of their comments into consideration when we crafted the amendment.
And the next item is amendment for the manufactured home in the R7B. Right now, the the R7B district is the only district that allows a manufactured home to be subject to a conditional use permit. Staff is recommending amendment to the conditional use permit to set certain parameters in the conditional use permit that the commission and the council can consider, being that the unit, the manufactured home be no older than 5 years, it be placed parallel to the street instead of perpendicular. It makes it more look like a home, that the pitch is screened, removed or screened, that their skirting be provided and maintained at all times, that a porch be provided at the main entrance of the manufactured home with a minimum size of 5 by 5, so that way you have a little porch and not just steps right up to the door, which you typically see in manufactured homes. And that it complies with all rules and regulations. So those are conditions that are proposed in the ordinance for conditional use permit that the council and commission may or may not take into account, or they may decide to act upon. That'll be all, that's why I go through the public hearing. The other beauty of this is that if there's existing single on-site built homes and somebody wants to come in the middle and put in a manufactured home, the conditional use permit requires public notice, so the neighbors will know that there's a manufactured home placed in the property, and the neighbor can come out and oppose it, and the commission and the council can deny it. The next item is amendment to the Board of Adjustment. Those amendments is to grant the Board of Adjustment the authority to grant a special exception for signs. Right now, the Board of Adjustment does not have any authority to regulate signs or to make any adjustments. The proposal from staff is to allow them to vary the height and the location of the sign, not the square footage that's allowed, just the sign height. We had a request by McDonald's who wanted to put in a taller sign because of visual obstructions, and we couldn't, because the Board of Adjustment did not have the
The Walmart sign's a little too big.
So, this is something that the staff came up with to give the board that authority, but it has to go through the normal channels for that to happen. The other thing was also to grant the Director of Development Services a minor administrative adjustment of up to 10%. There's a house that may be built 2 inches, 6 inches, 12 inches into a setback. Instead of having to go through the Board of Adjustment, okay, all those go through a public hearing, giving the Director of Development Services the authority to grant up to a 10% variance.
That particular bullet would have served the restaurant on commercial. If they were short, let's say they required 40 spaces and they were short 4, they wouldn't have to jump through an additional hoop. That's something the director could approve as opposed to taking them through another board or another committee hearing.
There was a question by the commission wanting to say, well, 20%, how about a little more? And I said, no, let's make sure that whoever's gonna be in this position can use that wisely and not just be giving it out left and right. And if you give more than 10%, it could have a major impact on the city. So, I recommend the commission to stay with 10%, so that's what staff is coming before. The other thing, I don't think it's on here, is the commission has requested that we take an amendment to remove the conditional use permit for manufactured homes in the R7B. I asked them to table that amendment because I was coming up with this amendment that was going to continue allowing them subject to all these parameters. So that's the other thing is before the commission. So these will be coming to you probably next month. So, any questions?
Make Miguel, I got a question on the conditional use of the trailer. That's just for the temporary use, right? Not whatever they decide to build later, however they want to set it on the property.
No, the conditional use permit for temporary while they're building the house
Right.
is still there. We're not changing it. But this new conditional use permit is for somebody that wants to live in a manufactured. Like in Sherwood Forest, they have a manufactured home. It's non-conforming and it'll stay non-conforming, but let's say the property owner who's rents that property, wants to put in another manufactured home, so you can rent it out, okay? Well, you have to go through a conditional use permit, and you have to meet all these parameters, go through this public hearing. And then at that time, if it's approved, then you approve.
Do you know what size the lots are right now at Sherwood Forest?
Sherwood Forest, they range anywhere from, half acre, well, actually 1 acre to about half acre.
Do you have a lot of
I
50-foot
don't know,
lots out there?
I don't know if you can sort of see the lot lines.
But Sherwood Forest, the subdivision itself, that is about half acre lots. Country Acres is a little smaller lots than that. And then you have some other lots along Gina and Payne that are a little bigger. They're all
Different size.
anywhere from 12 to 20,000 square feet. And then hopefully soon, we'll be getting wastewater to that area, so then they can break it up to 7,000 square feet.
Miguel, I have a question. If you have a property owner who wants to put a manufactured home on their lot, you're saying they have to get a conditional use permit to do this? When does,
R7B,
when does that terminate?
it doesn't.
It never goes away?
Unless they don't meet the conditions of the way it was granted. So it's no different than, so for example, they go through the hearings and they're allowed to put in a manufactured home. Years go by, they're not taking care of it, the grass is overgrown, et cetera. The commission may very well pull the conditional use permit and it would have to be removed.
Yes.
Okay. But no time period?
No, sir.
Okay.
It's a large investment for some people.
Okay. Thank you, Miguel.
Thank you, Council.
We thought that was a fair compromise, not only for the property owners, but also for the neighbors to know what's going to be around them, what they're willing to allow and not allow.
Correct.
This moves down to item 11A. Eric, will you be doing this, or?
No, I have Lynn Pierce's.
Okay.
There,
See that.
I apologize, this is listed under EMS,
That's
which
what I-
is ambulance, it's not, it's actually emergency management.
Mr. Mayor and Council, it's time to look at some of our MOUs again and renew those. Item A is with Bay Limited, a crane service that is capable of installing our Seagates, our big Seagates. And they have not given us a price increase. It's the same agreement we signed last year.
Awesome. Is there any questions from council on this item? If not, do I hear a motion for approval for item 11A?
I make a motion, we approve item 11A.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Mr. Pierce, 11B?
On B, again, it's the same thing, we had Cox, JJ Cox Construction, they were a primary last year, we felt we needed, because the Seagates is so important, we felt like we needed a primary and a secondary, and Mr. Fox is our primary, and Dave is our secondary. Again, they had no price increase, nothing changed in their contract, it's the same as we had last year.
Is there any question for council on item 11B? If not, do I hear a motion for approval for item 11B?
I make a motion that we approve the MOU between the city and J.J. Fox Construction.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Pierce, 11C.
On C is the resolution adopting the provisions of the Nueces County Hurricane Reentry Plan. Nueces County is really, Nueces County and Corpus Christi really lead the way on this. Nueces County pays for us all to be able to use this system. It's mirrored after the state system, and it just dictates when we can start letting people in the event we have a mandatory evacuation. Under this plan, the worst case scenario is normal everyday homeowners would be coming in 72 hours after. We'll start with the emergency response, then our essential needs, our volunteers, and then our businesses and our citizens. And this is just, we need this resolution to be able to be part of the Nueces County and actually the whole coastal bend region. Just puts us in line with them.
How does that work with public officials, Mr. Pierce? For public officials, let's say,
You can't leave.
I know I can't.
You can't leave. So
But,
you don't need a reentry plan, because you and I can't leave.
Well, the reason I say.
You and Eric.
I mean, y'all know who I am, but somebody else, maybe a DPS or somebody else may have an issue with me trying to enter or not be.
For my information, does the council have ID cards?
Other than licenses, I believe.
Just license.
I don't think we have any city IDs, right?
Honestly, you probably wouldn't want to be in here too quick. You would be a tier 2, which would be right after the emergency response and the rebuilders.
I know I won't be leaving, but.
You'll be here.
You know, council, just to point out too, because I've overviewed some of this plan, it's a great plan from Nueces County. We really don't have a reentry structured plan in place. And because we bounder with Port Aransas is part of this plan, so we kind of have to work with this plan as well. And I think Lynn, correct me if I'm wrong, they're also reaching out to like Portland and Rockport and trying to bring some of the other agencies in San Pat and Aransas County aboard.
Aransas County and Portland are a little bit behind us on this, but they are coming in. Ingleside's right here with us. They're about the same stage we are.
So we're going pretty much from nothing right now to structure.
Correct.
It's a beautiful plan. Thank you, Lynn.
Do I hear a motion for approval for item 11C?
Make a motion that we approve 11C.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate it.
I'll just tease Lynn a little bit. This is all work post the planning for Hurricane Sylvia. We ran an exercise that was named Hurricane Sylvia.
I hear that was a bad storm.
It was a bad storm. It was a very bad storm.
So we was all the way down to 1480.
Mayor and Council, there's actually several updates for you. The first one is we have a thank you. We have a thank you from the on behalf of Aransas Pass Chapter 2561, the Future Health Professionals. They send their appreciation for support. We also, I don't know if you noticed the downtown area being cleaned up. The Destination Downtown group met on a Saturday. They've been cleaning up our benches and landscaping. We're going to have one test planter that's going to happen, I believe, in the next 2 weeks. The base color they've selected for the downtown area is this color. I don't know if you've noticed the area right across from Commercial Motors has one of their bases painted that way. So the blue will be phased out. They felt like this matched more with the brown, so we're going to let them take off with that. We have a new officer. I'll let Eric introduce her. Her name is Jessica. Jessica, you want to stand up?
This is Jessica Dougherty, and she's with our Animal Control Services. She's in the training phase right now, and once that's complete, we'll have a better overlapping coverage for Animal Control Services. We're real excited to have her.
Welcome, Jessica.
Welcome.
My AP number 3 launched this past week. That's the area bounded by the Euclid Ditch. There are some code enforcement issues in that area, but primarily we're going to be addressing drainage in that area. And my AP number 4 is slated to be the Bay Harbor area subdivision. I mentioned to the council they will be contributing toward the repair of their street. So. And budget planning continues. We have received our preliminary rolls from both Aransas County and San Patricio County. Both are up, not as high as we would have anticipated. At this point, it probably means an additional $50,000 or $60,000 into the general fund revenue. That's what I have today. Oh, I'm sorry. There is a press party. This week, the Aquatic Center had what we call a test soft opening. We had a birthday party scheduled over the weekend. We kind of left the doors open and see how many people would wander in. Well, we had 150 people wander in. We were staffed for it. We just didn't want to advertise it because we would have been overwhelmed. We have hired a new aquatic assistant manager. We stole her from Rockport, so I'm going to owe Kevin a box of cookies or something. Very excited. It went very well. And so we're having our press party on Wednesday from 4:30 to 7. Typically the weather, people go out and they set up on site. So if you get an opportunity, please stop by. That's where we're at.
Let's go move to item 16, I believe. Be a city council recess for executive session pursuant to chapter 551 of our Texas Government Code. 16A will be a consultation with the city attorney over legal matters, Gulf Marine, and then we'll reconvene after that. 7:56 p.m.